Afternoon, students. So this week our module is all about learning preferences. Before you watch this lecture, please make sure that you have taken the remainder of the learning preferences assessments, which are found on Blackboard. So you'll need to take the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic assessment and the brain dominance assessment before you watch this video in order to fully interpret your results. We're going to start with the VAC system, and that stands for visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. So, if you are a visual learner, you are someone who learns well through seeing things. You like pictures, you like being able to see words, maybe in a poster, maybe in text. Um, you like seeing instructions maybe written out instead of getting them verbally from your instructor. Perhaps you like interpreting graphs and things like that. You also are visual when it comes to interpreting your instructor's body language and gestures. Being able to see your instructor helps you to pick up on their cues, especially if they are, you know, talking about things that are important. You can pick up on that based on their body language or gestures. So some recommendations for visual learners: sit up front. Okay, that would be number one if you are in an in-person environment. Um, Doodle, use pictures when you are taking notes. I'm a visual learner. This is something that I would do when I would annotate. I was an English major, so I read a lot of poetry, and much of my annotations of my poetry were doodles or images. Try to seek out instructors who use visuals and technology. Being in an online class, that's pretty standard, but if you are in in-person classes, you may have instructors who don't use slides and things like that. So, try to do your research and find out which instructors, if you're taking an in-person class, use visual aids, use technology in the classroom. Um, Using highlighters is also a visual strategy when you are reading a textbook or a novel or any kind of text like that. Try to study in a visually quiet space. So, don't be in a room that has a lot of visual distractions. Maybe kind of bare walls, things like that. And then for your note taking, you can use something like mind mapping, and I'll show you guys a few examples of note taking for visual learners and what that might look like. So you can see here, these are just a couple of samples. We have, very neat notes with highlighting. It's color coded over on the left. Over on the right, we have a very nice mind map. That one is a little less organized, and that's okay. Just because you're a visual learner doesn't mean that your notes need to be perfectly aesthetically pleasing. Here's some other examples with doodles. Over on the left, over on the right, you are seeing someone who, just took bullet point notes, but then they seem to clip out some images and paste them into their notebook. This looks more like Cornell notes, and we will talk more about note-taking strategies later this semester. So, auditory learners are people who process information by hearing and discussing. So, you like to listen and speak. You prefer to talk about the content with your classmates, with your instructor, and ask questions to your classmates and instructor. You process out loud. When it comes to instructor cues and noticing things about how your instructor is delivering the material, you may notice their tone, their pitch, and their speed to figure out when they are delivering the most important material. Some recommendations for auditory learners are to read text and notes aloud. Read them out loud, even if you're by yourself. This is something actually that I did when I was in high school. I would read out loud. like review books for exams, and then I would listen to myself reading the exam in order to study. Tape lectures. Now, obviously, you have to be very careful with that. There are some universities who do not allow this without written permission. So, you guys have the benefit of being online here where you have the lecture at your disposal. So, you don't necessarily need to tape it. But just be very careful with your in person classes that you ask your instructor permission to record their lectures. Make sure that you're participating in discussions. If you're an auditory learner, processing out loud and hearing other classmates speak is going to be very important to how you absorb and retain information. Try to join study groups, create songs or stories or mnemonics to help you remember things. And we'll discuss that when we do our memory module later this semester. Try to repeat information either in your head or out loud. Um, and a great way to learn is to actually teach others what you learned. If you're an auditory learner, you're saying it out loud, and so that's very helpful if you have a study group or a study buddy. Try to study in a quiet space. You don't want a lot of outside noise, so going somewhere like a coffee shop like Starbucks may not be totally beneficial to auditory learners. You're going to want to study in a place that is quiet so you're not super distracted. So here is a video for you on how to use your auditory learning preferences to remember material. Let's go ahead and
Yo, man, what
watch
you
this
doing?
video.
Nothing much, Justice. I'm just trying to study my 27 amendments, but I can't seem to remember it.
Well, I got something for you. But first, let me break down the Bill of Rights. Yeah. Number one is freedom of religion, along with speech, press, assembly, and petition. Number two, if someone tries to break through, put up your arms, hopefully won't be no harm. Number three, only if you do agree to be a supporter, you have the right to quarter. Number four, if you don't want to open your door, there's a procedure for that search and seizure. Number five, if the court papers ever arrive, give it time, there's due process with every crime. Number six, when you get yourself in the fix, a fair speedy trial won't have to wait a while. Number seven, here with a little less to fear, in the court is a fair jury of your peers. Number eight, if you're stuck behind the prison gate, there's a rule, your punishment can be too cruel. Number nine, written in between the lines, rights enumerated, even if it wasn't stated. Number 10, of the powers that are given, states have a say, Fed Gov goes away.
Wait, Justice. So that was the Bill of Rights, but what about the other 17?
I got you, but let me switch up the flow real quick. 11, citizens can't sue another state. 12, present VP are running mates. 13.
So as you guys can see, using song and lyrics, rhyming words, that can be really beneficial to you. Maybe some of you want to go ahead and use this video to help you remember the amendments if you're
Yo, man,
studying
what you
that for
doing?
another class.
Yo, man, what you doing?
Okay, so kinesthetic learners learn well through activity and movement. You might be someone who really likes hands-on approaches like labs and workshops. If you are a kinesthetic or tactile learner, try to avoid longer class sessions where you have to sit still for a long period of time. And surprisingly, using highlighters is also a kinesthetic strategy. The physical act of using your highlighter to highlight something that you are reading, that's a physical movement, and it will help you when you take notes. Work standing up or walking around. Whether that's on outside or on a treadmill or, there are plenty of devices out there. There are those walking pads or under desk ellipticals, things like that. Standing desks are also very popular. If you don't have those things, that's okay. Do what works for you. Go on a walk outside and take your study materials with you. Try to be active during studying, walking around your kitchen, could definitely work or around your room. try to teach other people. That is also, through activity and movement. That's another kinesthetic activity. Try to break up your reading and your study sessions into small chunks so that you aren't sitting still for a long time, and make sure that you are taking frequent study breaks. So here are some ways that, practical ways that this could look. Flashcards, sticky notes, highlighters, pens, all of those things are going to involve movement, and they're tactile, and so they're going to help you to retain information better. Okay, so those are the three learning preferences: visual, auditory, and learning. And so now we're going to move on to brain dominance and left and right brain processing. So make sure, if you haven't already, go ahead and pause this video and take the brain dominance assessment. Those of you who are left-brained may resonate with some of these things on this slide. You may enjoy making lists, doing things step by step. You're very rational or logical. Organized, maybe it's organized chaos, that's okay. You're a goal setter. You like planners. Maybe even you prefer paper planners. You like right or wrong answers. Many students who prefer the maths and the sciences tend to be left-brained. And then you are very disciplined as well, very orderly. If you are right-brained, you're more social. Perhaps you are imaginative or creative. You can be very intuitive and even spontaneous. And so you don't have a problem, doing something kind of on the fly that helps with your creative abilities. You perform when you are inspired by something. You come up with an idea when you're inspired. You really enjoy answering and maybe even asking open-ended questions. And you don't like, true instructions. You kind of just want to do things your own way. So people who study the humanities like literature and sociology tend to be more right-brained. And I really like this visual of left brain versus right brained. Left brain a little more orderly, right brained a little bit more social and spontaneous and free-spirited, but don't put yourself in one box. You may see on your results which side you prefer, but you may be, a little bit more in the middle, and you can see that depicted here. I personally am someone who kind of falls into both categories. I'm sort of more in the middle. Of the left brain and the right brain. Okay, so go ahead and take these results as well as your multiple intelligence results and make sure that you complete your learning styles assignment. Okay?